Alright guys, we got the old Sega Master System out with OutRun. Let's pop that in and let's get into a little review here, shall we? Alright guys, what we're looking at here is of course OutRun on the Sega Master System. This game's based off the arcade hit of 1987, developed by Sega AM2. This is a pretty popular racing game in the arcades in 1987, and it was ported to the Sega Master System in 1986. The game, as you can see here, features a Ferrari, although there is no official license by Ferrari. There we can see the title screen with the 1987. Like I said, that's the year this was ported to the Sega Master System. And here we go. You can pick your song at the beginning of a race. Unfortunately, you can't change it once you're racing. So here we go. This game's very common, very similar to something like, say, Rad Racer for the NES, or early 8-bit racing game, kind of checkpoint to checkpoint racing game. It's a fun game. It's a pretty damn good game, but it's not perfect. So we'll talk about that. First things first is there's no engine sound. That's the first thing that kind of turned me off. Was you don't really get any sensation of speed. You don't really feel like your car is accelerating. And no engine sounds, no car sounds. You pass the other cars, the cars don't make any other sounds. I mean, really the only sounds in the game, other than the music, is your tires squealing, which of course tell you when you're turning too hard and you need to let off the gas. Very similar to Rad Racer. You see a little bit of smoke come from your tires and you'll hear them squeal. That's really the only sound effect in the game, and it really would have helped this game if they could have got some engine noises in there. It really would have helped with the feeling of speed as your car is accelerating. There you can see the road split, and that's because OutRun has multiple paths. Before every checkpoint, you'll see the road turn kind of strange like that, where it forks off into two and they kind of flicker. At first I thought that was a mistake in the game, the first time I saw that. And then I realized that you can actually drive on the left or the right side and it'll take you that direction. And you kind of go through the different sections of the game and you get a different theme. Like the background will change, and the color of the sky will change, the color of the ground will change. You could be by water or by the desert or just grass like we are here. So that's kind of neat. You got your different sections in the game. You can kind of choose which sections you go through. This game also supports FM sound. I've talked about the FM sound synthesizer chip that's in the Japanese Sega Master System. I'm going to switch. So now we're listening to the FM sound if you have either a Japanese Sega Master System or you've modded your American system with the FM synthesizer chip. So you can hear the music now is a little different sounding. Some people prefer the Sega Master System without the FM. Some people prefer it with. I say it certainly depends on the game. On some of the games like Double Dragon, the music is a lot better with the FM. In this game, I wouldn't really say it's a lot better. It's just different, really. So you might prefer it with, you might prefer it without. And so anyways, enough about the music. The other thing about this game that I'm not really huge on is the fact that you shift, which is fine. You can see in the top center of the screen there's an L and an H. The red is what you're in, so right now you're in high. Of course, whenever you stop, you start off in low. you accelerate a little faster in low until you get up to about 180, 190 kilometers an hour, and then you've got to switch to high. And there's nothing wrong with shifting. I mean, I love playing, manual transmission in most racing games. The problem with this one is that it's up and down to go into low and high, but you don't have to press any button to shift, and you'll find yourself steering some of the corners and not even realize it. Just pressing left and right, you also press up or down. So sometimes you'll go to take a corner and you realize in the middle of the corner that you accidentally press up and you shift it down to low and you're slowing down. It's a little annoying. I think it would have been cool if they made it so you can only shift when you let off the gas, or maybe tap B or something. I don't know. It's not a huge deal, but it also doesn't help that you can't hear your engine sound. Once again, not hearing the engine sound means you have to look when it's time to shift. You gotta look up at the top of the screen. So I'm constantly looking at either my speed, like I said, you'll get to about 180, 190 kilometers an hour, and you'll need to shift. Or you can see right below your speed is your tachometer, and of course you can see when it gets into the red, then you'll know to shift to high. But once again, if they had an engine sound in here, it would have been nice, because you would know when to shift just by listening, and you wouldn't have to look up at the screen. So those are really the two major downsides to this game. And really, overall, it's a great game. Don't get me wrong, I love the game. It's fun. I love these fun 8-bit racing games. These checkpoint-to-checkpoint games. This is a lot like Rad Racer, which I grew up playing, because I didn't have a Sega Master System when I grew up. I had an NES, and so I had Rad Racer, and I loved Rad Racer. And I didn't play OutRun. Maybe I played OutRun in the arcades a couple of times. In the probably like '93. I seem to remember playing it when I went camping with my dad and my sister. About '93 was the first time I had ever played it in the arcade they had at the campground. And it is a fun game. Just two things I think that really would have helped it. For one is the engine sound and the sound of the other cars as you pass them. That really would have helped this game a lot. And something to change the shifting so it doesn't change on you. Like I said, even if they just made it so you had to let off the gas, and then as you let off the gas and press down to shift. But that's not as big of a deal, And if you could hear your engine sounds, once again, you'd know instantly if you shifted, by accident. Whereas you don't notice it right away until you start slowing down too much, and then you realize that you're in low. So, great game, but I just don't understand what they were thinking when they didn't put engine sounds and car sounds in it. You can see those green cars are Volkswagen Beetles or Bugs, and that looked like a Stingray or a Corvette, and I think there's 911s. So all the cars are realistic, which I also like. Your car's obviously a Ferrari, even though it's not licensed. It doesn't say anywhere that it's a Ferrari, but it's clear as a bell that it's a Ferrari. When you're done, it shows you the course that you took. There's all the branches that you could have taken. And there you go, there's the game. Like I said, great game. Just the lack of the sound of the cars is the only thing that hurts it.